Do you trust that our government has control over the situation?
No.
The highly contagious virus COVID-19, or coronavirus, has become a worldwide concern since its initial outbreak in China late last year. Subsequent outbreaks in Iran, South Korea, and parts of Europe categorized coronavirus as a global pandemic. Local and international governments have taken measures for preparation with varying degrees of success. Currently, the global rate of mortality rests at 3.4 of those infected, a factor that is subject to change. This outbreak is having an impact on the availability of food and medical supplies, with some states on the West Coast and major cities like New York having their store shelves left empty by panicked customers. While the New Jersey governor just recently announced a state of emergency, as well as closures of select schools in the state, things still seem relatively quiet in my neighborhood. I live in a densely populated coastal state, so I'd imagine that it's only a matter of time before our local government begins to ramp up their actions. So, I went into some neighboring towns just to see how people were reacting.
Are you worried about the virus at all, or do you think it's being overblown?
Well, I think we have I think it's going to hit the economy for a while. I think we'll get through it, and you know, if especially if you're fit or younger, I think you're going to be fine. I think older people might have a concern, but I think it's going to have an impact on the economy for a while.
I think the virus is being overblown right now by media. Overall, I see the symptoms being less than a common flu. It's just people don't know how to handle it. And it's based off society, how people view work, especially that they have to continue working even if they're sick. And because the symptoms are only slightly worse than a common cold, they suck it up, go to work, and just spreads. But overall, if you're healthy, you're fine.
I'm definitely not worried. I don't think worry is the word. I think that we're all just concerned. And I think we all need to just be vigilant and wash our hands, make sure that we're not touching our faces and things like that.
I'm trying not to touch my face. My wife's a nurse, and that's what she told me. Joe, it's probably hands and touching your face. That's the important thing.
No. I wash my hands regularly and just keep on washing.
I've certainly gone to the grocery store and loaded up on some food. I did go to the bank and grab some cash. I do have a decent amount of cash in my house just in case, things are shut down. I want to make sure that I'm able to get the supplies that I need for my family.
Well, you're seeing a lot of conferences being canceled. I live in Colorado, and I'm out here for a business meeting that's going to be later in the week. And they warned me that that business meeting may be canceled. So I may have come out here for nothing. It'll be good to see my work colleagues and, get some stuff done at the office with them.
I feel like people are taking the same stance I am in that as long as you're a healthy individual, it's really nothing to worry about. Obviously there are deaths, but those I was reading are extreme cases, as if you're elderly, have a separate medical condition, or if you're very young with a weak immune system. But most of my friends are just taking it as it is, so no big changes.
I think there's a lot of mixed reviews in terms of, family members and friends. Some people are canceling vacation trips and not traveling on planes and not going to work, not going on trains and things like that. And then there's others like myself and, my partners in business, and we're carrying on day to day pretty much normal. I think we're just being a little bit more careful, like I said before, washing our hands and making sure that we're being, vigilant.
I since I'm not from here, I can't really, I don't really have a good opinion on that. People do tend to hoard things when crazy things happen, but I don't know.
East Coast, I'm not actually sure. I know there was a couple of cases came out of New York City, and New York City is still not on a lockdown. Washington, I believe, don't quote me on this one, had 30 cases, couple in the Amazon in Washington, but they're still up and running, right? They didn't shut down Seattle. So I don't think they're going to do a main shutdown on the East Coast.
I 100% think that we can experience that all over the country. I think we are going to experience that over the country because I think it's being blown out of proportion by the media.
I've seen a couple conflicting stories, so I don't have a good opinion here. I don't think it came out of a lab. That seemed to pop up there for a while, and I kind of poked at that for a while, but I don't think it came out of a lab.
I'm not really sure. I saw a lot of different sources from media outlets, but I don't believe any of them are true. There's classic people eating bats. Then there's something about it being leaks from a medical, I forgot, it was like a bio lab in Wuhan. To be honest, I'm not really sure. I don't have enough information to make a decision yet.
It started in a lab. I think we all know that it started in a Chinese lab, and we also know that the Chinese aren't really our friends, and we put their backs up against the wall politically and geopolitically and financially. So I think this is their one way of trying to control some power in the sense of the world.
I think there's a lot of parts of the government that are doing the right thing.
I don't think any government has total control over any type of pandemic or a virus that breaks out. I think that our government's doing a great job of getting the necessary medical supplies out there to the healthcare professionals. I understand that if you feel like you have the virus, you should see a state or local clinic as opposed to going to your regular physician, which is what you should be doing because they're the ones that are prepared.